Welcome to your favorite YouTube channel, Cartoonist Kayfabe. My name is Ed Piskor.
I'm Sean, Japan Book Hunter.
Bryan Christopher Moss.
And Jeffrey Darrow from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
And we are at the Japan Book Hunter headquarters, taking a look at Popcorn Magazine. Sean, let the people know what Popcorn is.
Well, Popcorn was a short-lived magazine. There's only 5 issues. We have 4 of them here today. It ran in 1980. I think by 1981, that was when number 5 came out. And then, of course, by the end, they weren't putting out a lot of volume. And that's why that's the hard one to find these days.
Always the case.
But, of course, they had a lot of the heavy hitters as far as Japanese mangaka in them. Otomo, Kaze Shinobu, Monkey Punch, Akatsuka. But their little like sales pitch was, we also introduce American comic book artists.
Boom. Let's show some of that off, man. And it's it's some key shit that'll be in here, dude. Like, look at that great Kirby in the 70s.
Yeah, you get Iron Man, you get Captain America, you get Avengers, you get a lot of the heavy hitters.
And that's like the most John Romita-ish John Romita drawing I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Definitely is.
So let's take a look at some of this stuff. We'll go through the Marvel portion of one of these first, real quick. Jeff, I know you were scooping these up off the racks. No.
You mean the popcorn editions? Or
No,
the
the American strips, of course.
Yeah, that was almost to the tail end of my...
The Man Gorilla or whatever his name was?
Yes, which was my name that the girls called me in high school.
I love that they still give it the manga treatment by you get your couple color pages up front.
Yes.
We're going to get you some the colored inks throughout. I always do get a little embarrassed. Now, the first 3 issues of Shonen Jump had American translated comics in it as well. It was all Alex Raymond. Well, no, that's not true. I think there was a Mandrake the Magician was in 1 or 2, and I think maybe like Secret Agent X9 or something. I have to check my notes. Look at that pose, dude. Pointing the prowl right at his victims.
And why wouldn't he?
Oh, we got a couple issues worth. It's such a good story.
Is it the Hobgoblin? That weird... they're trying to get...
Is it called Carrion or something like that? Carrion?
Oh, yeah, Hobgoblin's the sort of green goblinish guy.
Yeah, he comes in the 80s. Yeah, this is the Ross Andrew, Jerry Conway era. Like, whenever they were reprinting that stuff in the States, in, like, Marvel Tales, they had to, like, gussy it up with, like, Todd McFarlane covers and shit. The videos are brought to you by the books that we make, and 2023 was and is a big year. 2024 is going to be just the same. The Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus is out there. About 75% of this print run has been accounted for, so you guys have about 25% left of our stock to go. Scoop up that book if you see it. It's going to make an excellent gift. The X-Men Grand Design Trilogy comes out November 14th. It collects all of my X-Men Grand Design works inside of one nice, handy soft cover. Scoop that up. There are 3 volumes of Red Room that are completed. 2 of them are out on the stands right now, The Antisocial Network and Trigger Warnings. But coming to you in early 2024 is Red Room Crypto Killers with dozens of pages of extra features and commentary in the back. Street Angel, Princess of Poverty is coming to you at the end of November. It is a companion piece to Street Angel, Deadliest Girl Alive. You get both of these books. You have all of Jimmy's Street Angel comics to date. He's been self-publishing, and here you have True Crime Funnies, the Black and White zine, 1986 zine. Go to Jimmy's website. He might be sold out right at the moment, but you never know. He might have fresh stock depending on when you're watching this video. And Hulk Grand Design is Jimmy's contribution to the Grand Design mythology that we have created for Marvel Comics. Now that we're done paying the bills, let's get back to the video. Sal Buscema. It is kind of, because it's almost like they don't know what to reprint here, kind of. Maybe these are even if this is 80, that's not really contemporary for the time, but it's close.
But I like that they would pick the Man Gorilla one of all the stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Great stuff. It's like, it's just like, the kids are watching Kamen Rider and they're watching Ultraman. It's like, God, if we got them fighting the Kingpin, they're not gonna read this book.
Right.
Make it visually interesting.
They've got Man Gorilla. Now there you're talking.
Yeah, I do wonder if they choose it sort of like how when Viz came to the States, you can do almost a 1-for-1 for the titles they chose to bring and find the adjacent American titles. So like My the Psychic Girl, that's like Stephen King is out with like but also X-Men. You know, it's a little girl with mutant powers. Jean Grey, she's Japanese Jean Grey.
Exactly.
Kamui, like Lone Wolf and Cub already proven itself. So it's like, we can't get that. So Kamui's close. And then Area 88, Robotech was already out. Voltron was already out. The kids were definitely accepting that kind of material.
Yikes. There you go.
There goes your Monkey Punch. Cinderella Boy. Cancel Monkey Punch. Man, I love how he pushes those proportions.
And he does it in everything. So a lot of people don't know, but Monkey Punch, especially in the 70s, did a lot of one-shots. So while he was doing the Lupin series, he would just do stuff on the side. He did one time-traveling detective, which with a female-centric character. And he did some really sexy stuff about, I think one is a Dracula a university student that turns into a vampire, and it makes him horny.
Look at this, man. How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way chapters in good old Popcorn. These are the killer pages too, man.
They were trying to, change manga.
Right.
It didn't quite work out that way, but I think they thought that they were going to turn a page on
And
the classic styles. Yes.
Yeah.
Now we got some John Romita, Captain America.
I wonder if it didn't work out for Popcorn because I mean, you have all these heavy hitters in here. Was it because the Japanese fans didn't embrace the American comics, or was it because they were paying too much for the IP from America, from Marvel?
I've talked to like Jeff's translator, Miss Sheena. She's the one that hipped us to the fact that there were American reprints in old Shonen Jump. And these stories are written for 5-year-olds, man. Like there's no way to slice it. Like it makes the audience cry and stuff
5
because
years old going on 40.
yeah, because they they love the comics so much. But we looked at an issue of Comic Scene recently where Jim Galton, the president of Marvel, Stan Lee, and Jim Shooter were like, we are writing this for 7-year-olds. So
Who's still those same 7-year-olds are still buying them today.
Exactly.
Conan.
Yeah, little Buscema.
Yeah. I wonder who's inking that stuff.
It looks like he might be inking himself, no?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And it might be from the mags. Oh, dude. Oh, this is Barry Smith. Not to be confused with Barry Windsor Smith, man. A little early. Let's take a look at some of the manga in these bitches, man. This is an iconic cover. It may not be by Otomo, but I remember seeing this in Otomo monographs and stuff. Huh. And it might be just because he has a couple of things in here. Planet Galaga. This is a heck of a pedigree.
Even that has like a bit of American feel, so it's like it was curated pretty well.
In Japan, from like 77 through 80, we talked about this before, the big sci-fi boom.
Right.
Everyone was putting out sci-fi stuff around then.
Now, we looked at this. This is the Otomo piece, and it's clearly like a through the looking glass kind of vibe. But this is, you could get all of Otomo's like small kind of grim fairy tale, public domain one-shots in the Hansel and Gretel collection, which I do believe I see. Hey, Bryan, will you grab that greenie over there, man?
Yeah, I got a couple Hansel and Gretels in stock right now, so if you hop over, you might be able to scoop one up.
Hop over where?
Find them?
JapanBookHunter.com, my friend. Yeah, and people don't know it because much like when Geof got his oversized Domu book here in Japan, which is the famous story,
yes,
this Hansel and Gretel is in Japanese only. So unless if you've seen it before and you know this popping green,
right,
then when it's in the showcase or something at like a Mandarake or something like that here in Japan, people walk right by it.
Yeah.
They don't even know that's Otomo.
And I saw this and I'm like, okay, this is what Hansel and Gretel is, whatever. And like I passed it by like a lot of times, kind of on purpose, where I'm like, I just don't know. It feels slight. It's kind of expensive. Like maybe I'll just grab some other stuff. I'm so glad I scooped this up. And we'll take a look at this through the looking glass right here.
In fact, on the spine it says art book. You know what you're getting.
Yeah,
right.
You're getting
why is it with art?
The artwork is unassailable though. He really goes so hard. When you get an Otomo one shot where he doesn't have the responsibility of filling like say 15 pages up that week, he really goes heavy. One of my favorites is his horny.
From this to this.
Yeah, it's the beauty of manga.
Yeah, it's like.
And of course, this is Akatsuka Fujio, so gag manga. But this one, he's usually not this grotesque. This is more him here, right? The grotesque stuff is rare. I usually don't see it. It's quite so drippy.
Drippy, that's a good way to put it. I love that processed red ink. That was one of the astonishing things. Like in America, the way that you would probably print this is on a separate sheet of paper. You would do like an ink wash with just ink. But we went to the Fist of the North Star exhibit. I've seen a lot of pages. They paint that orange on the original. So I guess they photograph it some other way than we do our separations, because you will see like the black and the red. You see, It's interesting. And we would do so. This would be like 3 separate sheets for our way of printing. What do we got here, man?
Yeah, you got to get to that splash page.
What do we got here?
Violence Rider by Kaze Shinobu. It was a one shot. I think it was in 2 issues of Popcorn, and it's about Boso Zoku, motorcycle gang ladies.
Nice. Look at this fella. He needs some dentistry. Little optometry.
Classic symmetrical, the eyes
right at the center,
eyes and the
Look at
droulet.
the size of that nose. Can you even get any oxygen through that? It's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. It works. It's just the use of negative space.
Putting used to those deleter sheets that you always wonder, like, what would you ever use those for?
He wrote the story specially so he could get rid
Use
of those
the
deleter
use the last little
Get
bits.
that tax write-off. Had these things for 20 years.
It's it's so cool seeing his artwork at like big comic size.
Oh, it makes me think a little of Strangle for some reason.
Yeah, when you start to see those circles and stuff.
And those panels, those long.
Right.
Very experimental.
There's some pretty violent writing going on.
He definitely fetishizes the chick with the machine guns too. That's a trope of Shinobu.
But she's a good Christian girl.
Well, we'll talk about this later, but he's a huge air gun collector and aficionado, so that's why he draws guns so well.
I see.
Because when I first came here, I knew they made models of guns, and I went to one of those air gun places, and they had anything you wanted as an air gun. They had like 50 millimeter Browning machine guns.
Yeah.
And some of those things are more. I think in the States you can buy a real one for cheaper. And this was in the 80s.
Still today. So
I feel like in 2019 when I was here, there was one of those shops in Nakano Broadway, but it's not there now.
Unfortunately, a lot of those small shops turned into Rolex shops.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. They're all watch stores.
The little ones that had the little gashapon figures and this, or they're just you could rent a locker, or a glass locker, and sell your stuff. Those one is here last October.
A lot of them are
last
gone.
Year. They're all gone.
Some of them they're on the second floor. Like, how it's so labyrinthian?
Yeah.
Like, we found some stuff that we haven't seen the past 3 trips.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever go down to the basement? Because there's stuff down there too.
There's stuff in the basement, but no books. It's like used kimonos and some food shops and
the 9-stack ice cream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Giant ice cream.
Yeah. Now, who is this? Is this a reprint of something? Or?
Yeah, it looks old, right?
Yeah, this looks like a reprint of an old Kashihon, like a old rental manga for sure. And this is Fujiko Fujio, so early Fujiko Fujio stuff. And there's the man himself, and the men themselves. So you have Akatsuka.
Stranko-esque pose.
Fujio.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I guess they threw this in here because in those early times they were copying the American comics and the Disney stuff. And so it was a good bridge between the Western comics and the Japanese manga to throw that right in the middle.
Look at that Frazetta buried in there.
Yeah, right. Speaking of right in the middle, let's take a look at some of issue 3. Let's see what we got. You see what I'm saying? Some Don Newton. Now, I ain't going to harsh on Don Newton, but we have a big legacy in Marvel Comics.
I want to know more about this guy.
That's what I was just gonna say, man.
What's going on
Who
here?
is this guy?
It's almost Count Dante.
It looks familiar.
Way too happy.
Yeah.
Mean mugging.
Monte Carlo magic slimsuit.
Okay.
Oh, so okay, I get it. So it's like, listen, all you white boys are fat as fuck. we're gonna make you look
I can
a little
chop
bit more in
this weight
shape.
off you right away.
Interesting, they still retain the kind of color separations, right? Like they don't do any extra work with that.
This always cracked me up that you had all these guys in superheroes, except is it Wonder Man or whatever?
Right.
He's like he's got the. He's like, no, I'm not putting any underwear on.
Right.
The lady's gotta see the package. Yeah, I wonder how they selected this stuff because it's I'm not putting any of these guys. Well, I guess I am.
When I went to Denmark and I was teaching some workshops, they had magazines out there, and it would reprint Beetle Bailey, which is common. We always know that. But then inside, it would be strips like Tundra and some really kind of bottom of the barrel, to my taste, kind of strips. And I was like, man, why do they choose these particular strips? Because we do have stuff to offer in America.
Course,
we have great stuff to offer. And the actual editor shows up on the gram and was like, cheap licenses. Like that's literally what he said.
That's unfortunate.
Is that Buscema?
I think we still might be in this this era. If it's Buscema, it'll be Sal.
But it's the ink. This inking is probably one of the. Looks like they might be one of the Filipino artists.
Yeah, I guess it's continuing that. Yeah, it's who
Yeah,
I think
it
it
looks
was
different.
Rubenstein. No, because this is a lot of pages. I guess they don't have the creative team in there.
Did they reprint any of Stan's soapbox?
Right. Yeah, good luck. How do you say Excelsior in Japanese? Yeah, you see, you just
There, I love that.
you just get a little glimpse of Kirby.
Yeah.
Who's this guy?
I think I'd have to read it.
Oh, is that a Japanese guy? Because I
Well, it says,
dude, look
it
at
says
this.
Kosei Ono's soapbox.
So this is
the
the Japanese Stanley.
Quick, we gotta find a Japanese Stanley.
Oh,
Saito
see.
available? No.
And then you go to here and it's immediately cool.
And this is Baron Yoshimoto. Of course, he's the famous Gekiga mangaka.
Big, him and Tarada, they did that show together.
Yeah.
I met him on. I'm going to the show. I was invited to it, and I see this guy in the street, and he's got a cowboy hat on,
Yep.
boots. And I go, and I'm taking a picture of him. This guy is great.
Yeah.
And passing by, and I go up to the show, and then it was Baron.
It is Baron Yoshimoto. One of my friends went out with him because he translated his book into English, his manga into English. And he's like, yeah, he lives not far from Nakano, around the area, and he's like, oh, all the hostess bars know him, all the ladies know him. He's chain smoking, drinking, cowboy hat, big belt buckle, the whole thing.
It's like Bob Kane.
Yeah.
Got a Herb Trimpe, Jack Abel, Iron Man we're looking at here.
That's
Another Conan.
Yeah, this would be from the magazines.
Mr. Redondo, maybe.
This is Alcala inking Buscema,
Yeah.
John
I
Buscema.
bet he's doing it over Buscema's layouts.
Yeah, when Alcala gets his hand on you, he's so heavy-handed. It's turned into an Alfredo Alcala piece for sure.
See if there's a giant worm that shows up at the end.
All right.
Worms in those things all the time.
Buscema is a sick fuck, because like he would draw these torture machines, and when you look at him close, it's like, I think that could work.
There, now we're at the flip point where you flip it back the other way.
Let's see what we got here, man.
Oh, you gotta fold out that Frankfurt
From
poster.
from the other side.
Von Boden who?
And Frank Fazetta.
So good.
More of that Galaga.
That's-
Planet
Man, I'm
Galaga.
really digging that.
That's
This is great.
That's the 90s Wildstorm pose. That would be like on every page. Man, you got to draw Fairchild like that or something. Voodoo.
Well, am I wrong? But I might be wrong. But the proportions look more in Galaga here look more American than they do Japanese manga, right?
Yeah. It's pretty stretched out. There we go.
Great composition.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, call out any names you recognize, Sean.
Oh,
That's good cartooning.
yeah, and Hideo did a lot of sci-fi stuff in sci-fi magazine, but this looks a little bit more silly gag than sci-fi. And I've noticed that a lot of these manga
shit.
here.
We got some 8-man in this bitch.
Yeah, there we go. 8-man.
I'm sorry, Sean, we cut you off.
Oh, I was just going to say, I noticed that a lot of the mangaka in here were also heavy into the sci-fi in the late 70s. Because Otomo was, Kaze was, and a lot of these other mangaka as well.
I love the design of these things, the 8-man stuff.
Is 8-man Ishinomori or no?
No.
Yeah.
I know who it is, but it's, I mean, with the Hernandez brothers. I don't know if it was Gilbert, maybe both of them really liked 8-man.
Yeah.
Or giving him one of the comics.
Yeah, that was a video game when we were kids.
Really?
Yeah.
And then there was the OVAs or whatever. It was like, that was a rentable flick for sure at the movie store. And then it was a revelation that it was a comic. You know, that all of that stuff that we were checking out as anime, like, oh, there's a comic version that came before that.
That was just more Akatsuka
Right.
gag stuff, of course. And then here, this next page, That's Amazing World
Got the
by
Moby Dick.
Otomo, of course.
Okay, so his series is called That's Amazing World, and then he will do his riffs on public domain kind of things.
Exactly.
I
So that's
see.
where you get like a lot of the Grimm's fairy tale type stuff.
But they call the book Hansel and Gretel. I think that was another thing too why I passed it up. I'm like, it's all Hansel and Gretel?
I know that story.
Right. He likes drawing those whales, you know, that was a cover to that one Tankobon.
Yeah, Sayonara Nippon or Goodbye Japan.
Right. Oh, this is sweet as hell.
Oh. Jeepers.
Isn't that incredible?
Reminds me of that. There's a face like that in Domu.
Yes.
Old Man Cho's
Yeah,
screaming
man.
face, right?
Yeah, it's so good.
This is Murano. Just kind of simple
Right.
gag stuff.
Yeah, like when you start to see this kind of thing, you're like, okay, yeah, maybe you can do 17 pages in a week, but then you got you see that it's like that has to be a Tezuka kind of
Yeah. Everyone did spoofs on Tezuka at one point or another, you know.
right.
And it was like friendly jabbing, you know. 'Cause
Yeah.
He's the Godfather. He's
Yeah,
the
it's,
king.
it's like we say, man, you roast the ones you love. So you know, the first time I came out here, man, you could find popcorns. They're going quick.
Really?
You don't see them on the racks that much anymore.
No, and nowadays even in Japan, I mean, you're paying, you know, there's more violence writer Kaze Shinobu, and you're seeing, you know, $50, $60, $80
Right.
per issue, and like I said, I've been trying to find issue 5 for a couple years now.
And why is that? Is it for the American stuff or the early, the Otomo and the?
I think it's because there's more and more
stuff?
tourists coming, and they want, and it's recognizable.
Right.
You
It's
know,
like
they know what it
it's-
is.
It's a cool thing to have these Marvel comics. Do you think that's part?
Yeah,
of it?
I think that's part of it. And if you're a heavy Marvel collector, you want them. If you're a Japanese collector, especially from that era, if you're an Otomo, a Kira fan, you want them. So I think they just cross over like all those boundaries.
So there it is. Kayfabers, you might see a little gorilla face out on the racks, but make sure you flip it over, see if you got an issue of popcorn, because these things are becoming more and more rare. And Sean, got to thank you for showing your set off to the audience, man.
You're welcome.
I think that when the tourists came through your shop here, I think they drained you of your current stock of popcorns.
I think I only have issue 3. That's the
Okay.
only one I have in stock at the moment, but I'm always hunting for more popcorn.
Tell them what the website is.
JapanBookHunter.com and Japan Book Hunter on all the socials.
Bryan, what you got?
I got Desert Decay out currently. It's on my Etsy, and you can hit me up on Instagram, Strange Things Moss.
Uncle Jeff Darrow, God damn it, tell the people what you have coming out.
I'm gonna come up with a new book. I'm gonna call Jeff Corn. I'm inspired.
You got that Shaolin Cowboy stuff coming out though, right? Like an artist edition with the pencils.
Yes, and a silent, oversized edition of Cruel to Be Kin that has, you can see all the artwork that was covered up with some gags that were covered up.
That's going to show the art off super well. Thank you guys so much. Kayfabers, like, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell so that we can let you know what new videos are available. We are a daily YouTube channel with more than 1,500 videos in our filmography, and there's a good chance we talked about some of your favorite comics. I encourage you to hit the magnifying glass on the front page of the Kayfabe YouTube channel, search for your favorite titles, and check out those episodes. If, by chance, we did not talk about your favorite comics on the channel yet, you have to let us know. Do so in the comments. Let us know what those comics are, and we will push those comics a little bit higher on our to-read pile. Jimmy and I are going to be at Big Apple Comic-Con come December 16th. It's been years since we've been to the Big Apple, and we look forward to seeing you guys. So please come through and bring your comics that we have yet to sign. We have a Patreon, and on the Cartoonist Kayfabe Patreon, the King Kayfabers get all the videos before anybody else, and when the internet cooperates, they are hanging out with us in a live stream recording session as we make these episodes. Mitigates the kayfabe effect. Ultimately, the videos are brought to you by the books that we make, and before you is a pretty good sample of our bibliography, but we'll get into the nitty-gritty. Jimmy, let the people know what you got coming out soon.
My next release is Street Angel, Princess of Poverty from Image Comics. This will be out in late November, in time for the holiday gift for the action comic, superhero comic lover in your life. And Street Angel, Princess of Poverty collects all the Street Angel comics that are not in Street Angel, Deadliest Girl Alive, also available from Image. And get both books. It'll complete your collection. I have been self-publishing lately. True Crime Funnies #1 is available on jimrugg.com, along with BW and 1986 zine. And if they are sold out there, you can still read them on patreon.com/jimrugg. And my contribution to the Grand Design history is the Hulk, which is available in limited quantities because it is sold out at the distribution level. So if you haven't added Hulk Grand Design to your collection yet, you need to pick that up next time you hit the comic shop.
Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus is my big one for 2023, and it is going fast. Man, there's more than probably 75% of this print run is gone, and stores have been re-upping. It was the #1 reordered book on Comic-Con. So thank you guys so much. Thanks to stores for supporting the book. But if you even have any thought that you want this or you want to get it as a gift, make sure you scoop it up right away. It's the best book I've made to date. 500 plus pages, 10-year anniversary of Hip Hop Family Tree, 50th anniversary of the culture. Scoop it up. Not the last holiday release I'm going to have. Coming November 14th is the X-Men Grand Design trade paperback, collecting all of my X-Men Grand Design works. A couple volumes of that is out of print as we speak, so make sure if you are missing out on your X-Men Grand Design, scoop that up. You'll get it all in one. And there is a trilogy of horror comics that I have made under the Red Room umbrella, Antisocial Network, Trigger Warnings, and coming in January is this trade paperback right here called Crypto Killers, which collects my 2023 season of Red Room comics with a bunch of extras. The books are the most important part of keeping Cartoonist Kayfabe solvent and functional. But there are some other ways to support the channel. Jimmy, let the people know.
You can subscribe to the Cartoonist Kayfabe newsletter at the links below this video. You can also pick up Cartoonist Kayfabe t-shirts, merchandise, mugs, stickers, and more at our spread shop. That link is also under this video.
All good ways to support the channel. Give them those final marching orders, Jimmy, and we'll be on our way.
Read more comics.